Newcastle 3, Liverpool 3, and what a game that was. And you know what? I think 3-0 is probably a fair reflection of the game. I thought Newcastle were the better team in the first half, but I thought Liverpool came out strong in the second half. It was a game of attacking brilliance and a few defensive errors. Now, both teams had 4 big chances each, 2 point, just over 2 goal difference. Liverpool had a little bit more possession, but it was quite an equal game on the basis of it. I thought Newcastle were absolutely incredible. I think they've been pretty dull their last 2 games. And when it seems to be a Big Six club, Newcastle jump out and they really put in a performance. But it was a fantastic team effort and performance from Newcastle. I think they should be incredibly proud of themselves. And if they can play with that tempo and that energy in their other games, I think they can have a good season, because when you look at Bruno Guimarães, Anthony Gordon, Isak, the pure quality there is unbelievable. And I think they'll probably invest in January. Liverpool, on the other hand, I think defensively were vulnerable, particularly the right side of defence. I thought the first half they were poor, but I thought they came out in the second half well. I think Slot does his adaptations at half time, seems to do it well. But it was the Mohamed Salah show. I thought Curtis Jones, I think he had a good game. McAllister was alright, Gakpo was alright. But I thought Mohamed Salah was the guy. He was absolutely excellent. So in today's video, because it's a 3-3 draw, I'm going to talk about Newcastle for a bit, and then going to talk about Liverpool for a bit, and then going to talk about my standout Newcastle players for a bit, and then going to talk about my standout Liverpool players for a bit, and try and make this match reaction talking about both sides. Obviously, going into the lineup, looking at it there, if I'm going to give you my honest opinions just off the cuff, I think Nunes is not working on the slot. I think that could be an area Liverpool need to address. I also think they just need depth for their back line, and I do think Curtis Jones, McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, the 4 midfielders are almost playing every game. Obviously, Harvey Elliott's going to come back in, but I think they need another name in midfield for depth, because I think their legs are starting to tire in their midfield a bit, and they lost Thiago and didn't get anyone. I think Newcastle, their midfield really gelled. Joelinton, absolute workhorse, but Bruno Guimarães and Tonali, I thought, worked really well. I think Tonali needed a run of games to just get used to the intensity and build up his fitness before he could be judged. And I thought Tonali was excellent today. I thought Bruno Guimarães was very good, very creative. And I think Bruno Guimarães is an 8, not a 6. I think he's so good he can play as a 6, but he's an 8. Bruno Guimarães would be my dream midfield signing for Manchester United, but I think he'd probably be a dream midfield signing for most clubs. Generally think he's a one-of-a-kind player. Anthony Gordon had a good game, and Isak, probably that shot. Now, the man that was still the headlines, the man of the match, is Mohamed Salah. Is Mohamed Salah the best player in the world right now? Because Mbappe's not performing. Rodri's injured. Vinicius, I guess, but it's not. Obviously, he's not been like Salah this season. If you're going off this season, has there been a better player in football than Mohamed Salah? And I'm saying this as a Manchester United fan. 13 goals, 8 assists, 21 goal contributions in the Premier League. That is the difficultest, most hardest league in the world. It is the hardest league in the world, and he's just doing it. But when he's doing it, he's winning points for Liverpool. Liverpool will be behind. Salah shows up, they win the game. Salah shows up, they win the game. He's a game winner. He's got the goal and assist. He's been unbelievable. He's been consistent. It's like I don't know how they can't give him a new contract. His influence on the game, his big game player, his calmness, his confidence. I think his creativity is underrated. He's getting good assist numbers. And Salah's put up these kind of numbers for 7 seasons. He's Ballon d'Or territory right now. Look, he always has a period, I think, when he drops off a little bit, but he's Ballon d'Or period right now. As a Man United fan, when Salah made it 3-2, I was like, oh my God, they've won again because of this guy. Luckily, Newcastle scored to make it 3-3, but as like Salah again, it's a joke how good he is. So I'm going to give you my thoughts on Newcastle. I'm then going to give you my thoughts on Liverpool. I'm then going to get into a few more details on specific players that stood out for me. Obviously, Salah won, Bruno Guimarães, Tonali. But this was my thoughts on Newcastle. I thought it was a real team performance from Newcastle. They showed passion, they showed spirit, and they showed their ability to compete against the top sides. I had a feeling Liverpool were going to drop points today. I put it in my group chat. I said, I think Liverpool are going to drop points today because I think Newcastle and Newcastle and Tottenham, I think, are the 2 teams, because of the athleticism and legs, that will cause Liverpool the most problems this season in a game. And Newcastle did. Newcastle taking points off every big side. They know what to do. Now, I think Newcastle, when they play quick, when they play with that tempo and energy, a fantastic side. But then they play Palace, and it's like, what is that? What is that? When they showed the attacking intent, they took risks, they went to have shots, they were much better. The build-up play was fantastic. I think the technical elegance of Tonali helped that. But the first half, I think the second half, Liverpool grew into it. In the first half, the energy that they played with, they deserved the lead, the brilliance, the ability to find space. Bruno Guimarães being in a more advanced role was really helping Newcastle start to create opportunities and find the space and cause Liverpool's defence issues, which has been the best defence in the league that just conceded 3 goals. Now, on paper, Isak and Gordon, excellent top-class players. Isak, world-class category, in my opinion. Probably not had the best start to the season, but that has been affected by the system as well, of course. But they showed up today and they proved their quality. And you look at those 3 players and you think, every big team in football is going to want them. Gordon works hard, impresses every game. Second half saw the Mo Salah show. But I thought Newcastle's response to going 3-2 down to then going for it, Eddie Howe making the sub switch, maybe he could have made earlier because players were tired. But I thought Newcastle worked. I thought they showed a real attitude about them. And I think the Newcastle team should be proud of themselves. I think they should absolutely be proud of themselves. And I also think Liverpool losing this game isn't the end of the world for Liverpool. I said this here. Liverpool is still 7 points top of the Premier League and they're going to drop points. They're not going to win every game. And the way I look at it is, if I'm a Liverpool fan, the game you want to drop points is like a draw to Newcastle at St James's Park because they beat Arsenal and they drew to City, or the other way round. They beat Tottenham, Newcastle's that team where they might take points off you. And a draw away at St James's Park against Newcastle isn't a bad result, particularly when you're still 7 points clear. So I think I think Liverpool fans shouldn't be worried. I don't know if there are Liverpool fans worried. Some people will be reactionary, have a meltdown. Oh, no, we're going to bottle it. No. There might be someone on Twitter saying stuff like that. But I don't think Liverpool need to be concerned. I think they came up much better in the second half. I think the defensive errors caused them issues, but I do think Newcastle deserved something out of that game regardless, because I thought Newcastle were really good. But Liverpool can't win it all. They can't win them all. They're still 7 points clear. Newcastle's a tough game. And I think, there shouldn't be any overreaction at that. I think Liverpool will probably go and smash their next game. They walked past City. They had a difficult game to Newcastle. They'll probably go and smash their next game, unfortunately. But I thought Liverpool were poor in the first half, but I thought they came out a lot better in the second half. I look at that game and I think Slot needs January and Salah needs a new contract. I think Slot needs a striker. I think Omar Marmoush is probably the one that is crying out for. I do think Cunha, João Pedro type player could work well at Liverpool as well. He's quite Firmino-esque in that profile. But Darwin Núñez just seems out of place. I thought Darwin Núñez was going to do really well under Arne Slot because of what he did at Uruguay during the Copa America? I thought he looked good, and that's why I did a video on it. But he's not taken to it. And I think he presses well. I think he works hard, but I don't think he's given enough at Liverpool. I've always felt that he's a good player in Núñez. I always have. But this season, I think Liverpool can't rely on him. I think that's what he said. Because I actually do rate Darwin Núñez. I think he can dangerously makes good runs behind. He gets in good positions. He's a workhorse. But they need reinforcement there. I think they probably need a Matip and Thiago replacement. That goes without saying. And I think for a change, Liverpool struggled a bit in midfield. And I thought that actually, Curtis Jones had a really good game. But I felt that, Newcastle had more energy about them. Liverpool looked a little bit leggy. They looked a bit leggy. That's what it was. About the games and the injuries and the Finn squad, because they are starting to be impacted by injuries, was catching up to them. And I think Kelleher was unlucky. Mistakes happen. People will give Kelleher a stick online, but I think considering how good he's been for Liverpool recent games, if anyone's given a stick online, have a look at yourself. People are going to make mistakes. He's human. But I thought the Liverpool's right-sided defence looked vulnerable. I think Trent came on to stabilise that. And I think Konate missing, Trent not being fit. Yeah, I think Liverpool, they struggled a bit defensively today. But Mo Salah showed up and he was absolutely excellent. Now, I want to talk about my 2 standout Newcastle players. Then I'm going to talk about my 2 standout Liverpool players. But Bruno Guimarães played in the 8 role today. He's mostly been playing as a 6. When he first joined, he played as an 8 because of John Shelvey. He's then moved more to a 6 because I think maybe the plan was to have Tonali 6 last season, who I think Tonali can be box-to-box because of his technical qualities. But Tonali obviously got that ban, and Bruno Guimarães has been more of a 6. But I've always said this, I've always felt he was Newcastle's most creative player in a weird way. I feel like the creativity and on-the-ball ability he has, and I've said this in videos 6-7 months ago, if you go back to my Newcastle videos, I think it's wasted a little bit. And I think Tonali playing as the 6 allowed Bruno G to focus more on attacking duties, break those lines. And I thought the technical abilities of Tonali and Bruno Guimarães on the ball, the breaking the lines, really helped Newcastle actually create something, which I don't think they've done in the last match or two. They really looked better going forward. And I saw Bruno Guimarães was showing that he could unlock defences and cause an issue in a penalty area, which I knew he could do. And I've always said I think his best game is an 8. And I think playing that 8 position brings Newcastle that spark and creativity, which I think will benefit them overall. I think Tonali had his best performance in the Newcastle shirt tonight. I thought he was everywhere. I thought he had the absolute legs in, gave 100%. I think he showed his technical qualities on the ball, comfortable at receiving, but off the ball was winning back the ball. But when he won back the ball, he could progress it forward quickly, could set the tempo. I thought that worked. I think there's always been question marks. Could Bruno Guimarães and Tonali work? But I thought it worked today for Newcastle. I thought the double pivot had the really good blend of creativity and technical ability, and Tonali was breaking up play. When he was breaking up play, he was initiating moves, he was breaking the lines, he was aiding progression, he was setting a tempo, and Newcastle were moving the ball a lot quicker. And I think that's why they play better, because when you've got Gordon, you've got Isak, if you can give them the ball quickly and they can get shots off, as Isak proved with his Honda goal, he will score. Longstaff is a workhorse, but when you look at Tonali's technical elegance, that is what Newcastle will need in the long term. Now, the man of the match is Mohamed Salah. I mean, he is looking Ballon d'Or sort of territory at the moment. 49 touches, 2 goals, 4 shots, 2 on target, 1 assist, 3 key passes, 1 out of 1 dribble, 9.1 sofa score rating. Absolute monstrous performance. You give him the ball, he'll do something, he'll make something happen. Liverpool go 2-1 behind, cool. He'll make it 2-2. He'll make it 3-2. I think he got an assist, he got the 2 goals, he had played a part in every goal today. He was phenomenal versus Manchester City. Every single match this season, he is showing up, he's putting in a performance, and I do not understand why they're not giving him a new contract. I don't think I can name anyone that's been better than Salah this season. I think the fact that he's been so good in the best league in the world for 7 years, I think Salah deserves more respect to his name. I think Salah is so disrespected by people outside of Liverpool. Maybe because he's not as aesthetically pleasing as Hazard. I don't know what it is. But when Salah's doing what he's doing for 7 seasons straight in the Premier League, whether it's a good Liverpool side, whether it's a bad Liverpool side going through transition when they've had drops off, it's unbelievable. I don't think there'll be many players ever that will do what Salah did. And then last but not least, I want to talk about Isak, because he is a player. I don't think he started the season his best, but he is a player. And I saw this tweet. That was coming from Isak. The dribble earlier inside the box where he twisted and turned to the right-hand side of the defence, hinted at him being in the mood. That goal was unbelievable. Liverpool showed signs of exhaustion, but they were much better after the break. But that goal from Isak, the 70 miles an hour, someone said, is that how quick it was? Who's going to stop that? Who is going to stop that? But Isak is a player. Isak is, for me, my favourite striker in the Premier League, because he's not... Haaland is someone that needs service and he'll score. Isak is someone that can dribble with the ball. He's 6'3" odd, but he can play like a player that's 5'8". He can dribble with the ball, he can link up play, he can drop deep, but he can get in the box and he can finish. Isak is my favourite striker in the Premier League. I tell you what, Liverpool could do with Isak, anyone could do with Isak, and Newcastle have done well to hold on to him and Bruno Guimarães, because they are 2 world-class players. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. See you next time. It is 2 a.m. at the time I'm filming this, by the way, because I had to do 3 other match reactions because all the games went at the same time, so I've just done one after the other, after the other, after the other. It's been a long day, but thank you for watching. Bye.